Welcome, and today we are continuing on the positive trend of Blizzard to make alt friendliness more and more approachable in this expansion. We have gone through several iterations of game systems removed from this expansion that usually made you lose the will to live when playing another character, like farming artifact or Azerite power, having to regrind the legendary cloak, doing island expeditions or visions or anything of the sort. This time around we've gotten another sneaky change, this reset, so basically a couple of days ago, that wasn't really mentioned. People just found out about it and then Blizzard came up with an announcement being the ability to purchase items from Venari is now unlocked for all characters on your account based on the character with the highest reputation. To gain access to purchasing these items across all characters, just log in to the character with the highest Venari rep. So now you can also go and get all of these Venari items regardless of whether or not you gave up halfway through the reputation grind with some of your alts. Now you can just go in and enjoy the fruits of your main labor when it came to grinding that appreciative rank with Venari. So there is a thing, since I read some comments and there were some people pretty confused about some of the things in there. Venari sells upgrades for navigating the Mo faster, and then she also sells upgrades for Torghast. Now, let's make this distinction very clear. The upgrades for Torghast are account-wide, okay? So if you already bought them with your main character, they're basically going to be gone when you go on that character to Venari. They won't even show up from the vendor at all. And then the other one is the one from the Mo upgrades, the one for moving around. Those are the ones that are character specific. So the Riftwalker Essence to enable the Chaotic Riftstones, to fly you around, or the Levitating Chain to allow you to grapple to some locations, etc., etc. Those have to be purchased for every character. Generally, the way I saw it, the main benefit of this is to use Stygia on some of your alts that you never really bothered to use because you weren't leveling them up or gearing them up or using them at all, and use it to buy some of the Torghast upgrades that you never bothered to buy. I myself, for example, I kept going for item level on conduits or sockets, so I never really wanted to spend Stygia for something that wasn't character power. And now with this change, I can just get some of the Stygia on my alts to buy all of the stuff for Torghast, mostly for the, alt friendliness. My main character doesn't really need help in Torghast. One thing that is worth remembering to everyone is that at BlizzCon we got the announcement that all of these power upgrades for your characters being sold by Venari, so being able to upgrade one of your conduits, your lowest item level conduits, by 1 tier, so by 13 item levels, and the spatial realignment apparatus, which is your socket, those two were going to stop in Season 1. Maybe you never really even paid attention, or you never even watched the video where I pointed this out a couple of times. They added Shadowlands Season 1 item to the spatial realignment apparatus, so you won't be able to use this to socket higher item level items from 9.1. And with the Unbound Reality Fragment, they did the same thing. They capped it at item level 226. 226 is going to be the equivalent of normal difficulty of the next raid. So very, very low, very, very easy to obtain once the next patch comes in. So effectively, it's not that you had a reason to continue grinding the Mo and grinding Stygia on your alts to power them up, because by this point, all of this accumulated power is going to drop by quite a bit as soon as you enter 9.1. There is no real reason to keep chasing sockets. You can do it, if you want a reason to keep playing, to draw you to continue playing and get some more farming. If you are really into farming Stygia, more power to you, I guess. But as we know, Korthia is going to be the new Mo zone for 9.1. There is going to be a new currency system, very likely. The conduit upgrade system and the socket system are going to be basically replicated with the new items for the new season, and you will just start from there again. I hope it's not going to be as annoying as the Stygia grinding of this season. It was, it ended up being quite dull after a time. Given by how many people dropped this, I can guess most of you guys feel the same. After the meta was established, the meta being join a raid, go rare by rare, avoid the special events, just kill all the rares, don't really bother killing normal mobs and special events because of the bad extra Eye of the Jailer attention they give you. Finish your circle around the Mo and then leave. It was a little bit annoying. Okay, it was a little bit tiring, especially because you have to do it with a group, meaning you have to do it at the pace of the herd, you know, the pace of all the sheeple running around. You can't really go at your own pace. It was pretty annoying, so I do hope for 9.1 they will add a system for grinding whatever material, whatever currency they will show on into the game, that it won't be as group-oriented as it was at the start of this expansion. Beyond this, though, at the end, we do still have an extra help for alts. This is, in general, a good change for alt characters. It just makes it easier for you to gain some more power on your alts without having to grind, so without having to take extra time for the reputation farming. So that's okay, that's fine. It's a nice addition. Now, talking about additions, we have another addition. We have the first addition to the system of competitive dungeon tournaments after the MDI system. Now we have a new thing called the MDI The Great Push. So if you want the TLDR for this, because you don't give a shit about Mythic Plus esports, the TLDR is that the normal MDI this season caps at plus 18, it gives you 229 item level on your character for the gear, and then you have to run the keys that Blizzard gives you with the affixes it gives you, locked at plus 18. This Great Push tournament is gonna give you a weekend for you and your team to just run as high as possible in the key level. There's not gonna be a limit. It's not gonna be fixed at a certain level. It's not gonna be just a couple of keys. It's gonna be the entirety, the entire pool of keys that you have to run, and you have to try to complete them at the highest level possible. That's the TLDR. There are some similar rules that we have seen before, like tech stacking is not allowed. You can't bring 2 mages, for example. You can't bring 2 rogues. There is the fact that the compositions this time are not limited to 1 tank, 1 healer, and 3 DPS. So technically you can go double tank, for example. And then the rest is more or less the same. Blizzard chooses the affixes. Basically, it's as if it was a week, a normal week of affixes, and then you can go and clear the keys. It's gonna be pretty funny, honestly, if Blizzard, just for shits and giggles, decides the affixes are gonna be tyrannical and bolstering or necrotic. That's gonna be pretty fun. One thing, though, I wanted to point out, which isn't about the dungeon itself, is about the prize pool, because I've heard this as a complaint before by some of the pro players, some of the high Mythic Plus players who pointed this out for the MDI, which was the prize pool. The prize pool for this tournament is going to be the same as the prize pool as one of these small cups of the MDI. The MDI had 4 different cups for you to compete in, and then you sum up all the points, and the 8 teams with the most points are going to go to the grand finals of the MDI. And this tournament, this spin-off tournament, has the same prize pool, $20,000 total for everyone involved. And you know, these comments were pointing out that, so you have to prepare, and then you have to play a couple of days of qualifiers to even get in, and then you have to play a full weekend of keys back to back non-stop to try to time them all. And even if you win, you get $8,000 for 5 people. It's like $1,600 per player, or over a week of playing, even more of the training, the trying, and the testing. It's low, okay? TLDR of this, it's low. It's little. It's not incentivizing enough people to get into this tournament. It is probably going to bring much more suspense, much more hype and competition if the prize pool was much higher. Generally speaking, it's not that if you put higher prize pool, then people are going to always be more interested. It's not that you can just throw money and people are going to flock to it, especially the viewers, if the viewers don't care about it. It's not that if you put a $3 million on a pet battle tournament, then suddenly the stream is going to get 600,000 viewers. Because of the money, it is still a fucking pet battle tournament. You will get surely some people go in interested, because why in the shit would a pet battle tournament have a 3 million prize pool? So that's gonna interest people, but usually that's not the only thing. It's not enough. It's not the primary thing, at least. The reason why I got interested in this was because of the announcement. I mentioned yesterday being annoyed at the announcement of the Beasts of Prodigum event being active in Torghast, and the way people almost seemed annoyed because of a system that really affected them in no way, at the very least in no negative way. They still had something negative to say, and oh man, when you look at this announcement and you're like 9 likes in over 300 comments, you know something's up. So the specimens approaching this announcement, you know, you read things like this. You read things like this one. I would prefer you focus on keeping WoW as WoW and way less on this esports push. WoW isn't an esports title. Everything you have done to push esports in WoW has progressively made the game less fun. So I'm asking you, what has been done to the game that was esports centric, which made the game less fun? Because I don't see it. I don't see anything that Blizzard decided to add or to remove from the game just for the purpose of pushing esports. You know, this genius, besides the fact that apparently his definition of fun is buying the transmog set from the fucking store, so whatever, this person didn't even get to Renown 40, didn't even finish the storyline, so he's not even into the story. What about Mythic Plus? Maybe he's in... No, he's not into Mythic Plus. Where is the fun for this guy? Maybe if Blizzard wasn't pushing Mythic Plus as an esports, this guy could have managed something better than depleting a fucking +6 Plaguefall. Maybe that's Blizzard's fault, and their push to esports. +6 Plaguefalls being depleted are a problem of the esports push, I guess. Dude, just stop. Just stop with this, okay? Stop trying to turn an RPG into an esports, okay? It just doesn't work, okay? What part of this is esports? What part of this is esports? What were you doing here which was ruined by pushing the game to esports? I'm not sure. Because I agree with you, my audience. I just want a fun game. You just want a fun game. And it's Blizzard's fault that 6 months into the expansion, this guy hasn't done a Spires or a Theater of Painky. It's because of the MDI. That's the issue. That's the problem. Oh, man. It's always so fun. I enjoy these type of announcements, even more so than what they actually mean. I don't really care about this type of stuff. It's not that I particularly like watching the MDI, but I do know, on the other hand, it's the perfect bait for these type of people to just flock in and complain. You know, having been in and around the game for 16 years, I do know when there is some juicy piece of news that is going to draw in all of the minus habens of this game. You know, vomiting their bile, their toxicity, their pent-up frustrations about the game, using every little bit of an excuse they can. Personally, the MDI doesn't affect me. And personally, I would have enough self-respect to not go around talking about Blizzard ruining this, or Blizzard breaking this, or Blizzard focusing on the wrong things, when the best I did is LFR in raids, the best I did is a +8 in Mythic Plus, and I could have gotten to the same PvP score I have now if I played fucking blindfolded. So since likely I don't live in that awful mental state that apparently way too many people do, I think it's interesting. I think it's gonna be an interesting event because it's gonna give you something different than the MDI. You know, the MDI was locked at +18. Even a random guy, like myself, can just clear a +18, so it's not that different. It's going faster, of course, but the level of the damage you're taking can be similar, whereas here, you go into the actual pushing of very high keys, the things you see in streams, the things you see in YouTube videos that have not really made it to the MDI since ever, basically, and now you get to see it, so it's gonna be interesting. I guess it will lose some of the suspense, you know, the fact that there isn't a team versus team matched against each other, racing against each other in the same key, but it's just gonna be an entire weekend where 6 different teams are playing at the same time, so there's gonna be completely different keys being run at the completely different times, so it's not gonna have as much tension as a normal MDI tournament. But to be honest, even if you haven't watched MDI that often, but you have an idea of what it is, very rarely you do get an MDI run going down to the last second. Most of the time you get one team who overpulls, fucking wipes, and the run is over, so I don't think it's gonna be that bad. This entire thing, this entire great push tournament is gonna come for the finals after the MDI finals. So the MDI finals are gonna be at the end of April, and then this great push tournament is gonna be at the end of May, so basically 1 month apart. Maybe it's the time for NA to win something, because, you know, NA didn't win in 2020, no, not even in 2019, nope, not even in 2018, and sure enough, not even in 2017. They even got beat by those traitors of the crown down under. How embarrassing. So maybe, you know, continuing after the world first in Shadowlands from the Nathrius, they spill over Mythic Plus, they spill over 5-man content. We'll see. Please don't follow suit and be one of those brainlets who just complains for the sake of complaining. There's nothing wrong with esports. If you think Blizzard is a company that's pushing esports, then clearly you're too young to know what companies did to push esports. If anything, Blizzard is underutilizing their esports department. I just told you, it's a $20,000 tournament. 20,000. It's pathetic. So don't join in those conspiracy theories. Thank you. After all, I shouldn't even tell you. As you know, the price of admission to entering this channel is 214 IQ, so I'm pretty sure you haven't fallen for any of that. But just to be sure, maybe there is a stray who got in here by mistake, who's not really sure where he is, so just to remind him, okay? for now, we can stop here. We can adjourn ourselves to tomorrow, probably, likely. See you guys tomorrow. And in the meantime, no, I'm sorry. No, if it's only 180 IQ, you will have to retake the test. Otherwise, out.